Please note, this session is being recorded.
Continue. So till yesterday, what we did earlier, we connected sample superstore. We saw our file over here, and then we saw different variables and their data types. Correct. Now, the next thing is like we were supposed to talk about this live connection and extract connection. So we did discuss a little bit, but to be precise and in order to see the importance of these two. So generally what happens, like if your requirement, right? I'm talking about the requirements, not the development side right now. If your requirement is that you want a real-time connectivity, for example, as soon as there is a new record in the database, you want that come into reports. For that, you will use live connection, right? But if people want, or if they are ready to wait for 1 hour, which means, let's say, I mean, you can set it for 5 minutes also, but recommended is like if they are ready to wait for 1 hour, then go for extract one, right? Why? Because refreshing your extract every 5 minutes will again consume a lot of resources, right? So it's better if the duration is at least 1 hour or more, then go for extract so that you will save some resources over there, right? So that is the thing. Now, the other benefit would be like live connection will definitely utilize your Tableau servers resources, as well as because it is live. So as many people will look on your dashboard, those many times there would be a hit on your database or actual data source. Right. So let's say this dashboard, you deployed your dashboard and there are 50 people who are, kind of looking at your dashboard. So what would happen? Like 50 hits will be there on your database or data source where you are getting the data from, right? It might increase a lot of load over there. So in order to reduce that traffic to your database or hits to your database, you should go for extract connection, right? And what this extract will do, because people will, whenever people will look at the report, they will see the data out of this extract, right? They will not hit to database. Now the question comes, if it is extract, how will they get the updated records? Right. So for that, that's why I said, like, if they're ready to wait for at least 1 hour. So what you can do, every
But
1 hour kind of thing,
no,
you can set.
but 1 minute of starting, you told that using extract causes a lot of its database and all will be huge traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the
Right.
confusion over there?
Hmm. So over here, like while if you set extract, so while deploying over Tableau server, you will get option to set the, to schedule the refresh. So you can schedule it for every 1 hour refresh, right?
Okay.
So in 1 hour, Tableau server will hit your database once, right? So at the place of 50 people hitting your database, you will get only one hit on your database,
Okay.
right? So that is how you can save traffic to your database and you can continue your application working properly. And only what people will see, the extracted data. So every hour, whatever there would be the extracted data, that data will be visible to them on dashboard,
Okay.
right? Then there is, another thing over here. If you see, this is filters, right? Now these filters are for your data extract, which means as soon as you refresh your data, the very first thing which will get executed is this filter,
Okay.
right? And according to this, only the filtered data will come into your Tableau servers, sorry, Tableau desktop,
Okay.
right? I think yesterday, if I have not shared, I'll share it today. The function of, the order of functions in Tableau,
Okay.
right? That means after, I mean, what is the order of different operations in Tableau when you connect to your data source or when you try to refresh it, right? So starting from this filter, things getting executed. Okay, I'll share that order. Now, once this filter will get executed, so only the filtered data will come into your Tableau server or desktop, right? Why I said server? Because this extract will be saved on server itself
Okay.
in production. While development, you will have this on your local machine.
Okay.
Right. Now, another concern, I mean, another benefit of using extract connection is, so let's say you got the requirement, and this is for developers. Let's say you got the requirement. So, like you start working in office, but after some time, let's say as soon as the shift is about to over, you need to go back home, and then if you want, you can continue from home, right?
Mm.
So in that case, if you take the extract, right, you don't need a continuous connectivity with the database or in your office network. You can work offline.
Okay.
If it
But
if
it's
it is
difficult,
extract,
but
right?
it's
If it is
difficult to take.
extract,
Yeah, sorry. But it's difficult to take the extra, right? Office data, you can't take it. Like it's confidential, right?
no. So it will be on your system. So again, I, there is further point to it, because some companies allow this thing on your system, right?
Okay.
If they are not even allowing to save anything on your system, then definitely there is no option. But in order to continue your visualization and all, see, even for that there is an arrangement. So some companies kind of provide you um, like test data for a development,
Okay.
right? Similarly, for any development, you have development environment, testing environment, and then production environment. So similarly, over here also you can have that, and all the development will happen into your development environment, or then testing will happen in testing environment. Once these two stages are over, then you can deploy your Tableau desktop or Tableau dashboard to Tableau servers, so that you will not get that problem.
Correct.
Right. So there are different arrangements. I agree, like data confidentiality is there, and that is the risk, I would say, with the Tableau public basically, because in Tableau public you cannot work. You cannot save whatever you create, right? You need to save it only on your either server or in tableaupublic.com.
Correct.
So that's the challenge there. But these are the two major benefits of creating extract, that you can work offline and you can reduce a lot of traffic to your database by using extract.
Okay. By default, it will be live itself, correct?
Yeah, by default it will be live.
Okay.
Okay.
If
No,
it comes
then
only when we connect to the databases, like apart from this text file, Excel file, it doesn't make connection to this. Those connections are used only for the databases, right? Like SQL, or whichever the data system which you're using.
see, there is the same situation for those also, right? So let's say you connected some file from shared drive from your office, right? Now somebody went ahead and removed that file or moved that file. If it is live connection, you will end up losing your data and you will not be able to continue work, right?
Correct.
So in that case, extract is beneficial. If you would have created extract, people can remove that file, you won't get affected, right? It's a kind of physical file on your system. And where it will get saved, so yesterday I talked about this repository, sorry, documents, and then my Tableau repository, and then data sources. So here it will create all the extracts on your system. Fine. Now another thing would be, like, as soon as we move to the sheet, okay, before even that, over here I mentioned, like, you can change the name of your data source, and let's say from this data source only you want to create, basically this is the connection right here. So let's say from this connection only you want to create one more data source, or maybe let's say here there are 3 sheets which you are getting from this data source. What if right now I have orders? What if you want to take people or returns also? So in that
Right.
case, right, in that case, there you have 2 options. Either you can create 2 individual connections, or over here, let's say if you have same fields in people as well as in orders. What I mean same fields, like same number of columns, which means if you want to do a union between orders and people, you can do that. It says union, right? And then you can take the another fields. So over here, you can put some of your conditions. Let me orders, right? This is in terms of join. Let me show union first, then we'll come to join.
Union means we can combine both tables, right? Which are missing into one.
See, for union, you need to have same number of columns, right?
Mhm.
So see what I have done, I have just dragged this orders below this order. So
Mhm.
this union has been created, right? Orders and then orders one. It will automatically rename the another object which you drag,
So
because
basically, how to check whether it has same
same
columns
number of columns. That you
or
can see from here, right? You'll see your columns here, then you will see your columns here. And another thing is like, if let's say something anywhere you don't have, let's do this, right? Earlier I did orders and orders. Let's drag these people here. Okay, let's see what happens. If I drag it here on the union, and I know like people doesn't have same number of columns, right? Let's see, edit union. So this is here now, wildcard automatically. So we really need to know what it did. It has,
added those columns as well if it's missing.
right, if it will add, then what it is doing, and if it is, let's go here. Tables order plus, and then person, sheet, and table name. We need to see the data. So how can we see that? In order to see data, you need to move. Okay, over here you see, right? Generate field names automatically, and field names are in the first row. Fine. I'll just go to sheet so that I can see my data, how it is coming. Over here, I will try to export the complete data so that I can see that what exactly it is doing, right? So if you look into this file, filters are there, and then it says in the last column, you will have all your table names. So order one, and people. People was the third table which I dragged. So
Okay.
I will do here. Now if you see, wherever we had the right match, which means number of name of columns,
Same column names.
right? It has put that data, and otherwise it's blank.
Okay.
So this is how union works, right?
Mhm.
So it has just dumped the data on top of each other, and wherever it found the matching columns, it has mapped those fields, right? In case, let's say there is some field which is not in my previous data, but it is there in the second data. What it will do, it will add another column here.
Okay.
right? Because that column was not in the first set, it was in the second set, so it will add another column.
That was
So
all whatever records we have in all the three tables, those all data will be combined into a single sheet.
can you please repeat that again?
All the three tables which are given, all the records will be combined into a single sheet.
Exactly, right? That is what union is, right? You try to combine the data vertically, right? But if you need to join your data horizontally, basically, let's say this orders and maybe returns, right? How would you do that? You'll apply join.
Okay.
So there are 4 type of joins what Tableau provides. It's an inner join, then left join, right join, and full outer join.
Full outer join is basically you can call it as union itself.
Right. So just read it here. I mean, it's telling you that what will happen in this case. It says includes all values from both tables without matching show up as nulls. Without matches show up as nulls. Right.
Without matches
So
show up means
members without matches show up as nulls. So wherever you will not find any match, whether it is from table 1 or table 2, if the field is not matching, you will get nulls.
okay.
Right? I mean, let's say there is a primary key, right? And against the primary key, you don't have any record in the second table, so you will get null only, right?
Yes.
So that is what. This is the right join. You will get all the records from the right side table, and then if there are matches from the left table, matches you get. Otherwise, nulls you will get. Opposite of that is left, and inner will be the only matches.
Supplement is between A and B.
Right? Correct. And then over here, if you'll see, like by default, it has added this, added the joining criteria as order ID from orders and order ID from returns. So it has joined on that basis. If you
Okay.
want, you can, if you want, you can change the criteria if you think that this is not the correct one, because Tableau has done it by default, right? So if you want, you can change that. So in this field, in this table, I had only 2 fields, order ID and return. So basis order ID, it has matched. Now, if you want to add another criteria, you can do that. So in first row, you have order ID, and for the second category, you can add something else. But over here, I have only kind of 2 fields in returns. See, only 2 fields, order ID and returned. So that's why we can maybe continue with like this only. Okay, so this was the join, and we implemented union also. So I will go ahead into my sheet. And then on this side, there are few things which you need to get familiar with, right? So yesterday we talked about this data source tab, then sheet 1, dashboard, and story, right? Apart from this, under this segment only, this pane is called data pane. Under data, you will get your data source, you will get dimensions, and you will get measures, as well as if you add group, set, or calculated field, all those will come here only, in this area only, right? So what I mentioned, any set, any parameter, or any group, if you create any of those, they will come here only, right? Then the second thing would be analytics tab. So let's say in your data, you want to kind of do some trend analysis, or maybe you want to do kind of segmentation or clustering. Those things, what Tableau does, basically looking at your fields, if some fields are eligible, because see what happens, like all the fields will not be eligible for cluster analysis, right? Similarly, you cannot create all the charts from one particular field. For different charts, you have different requirement. In the same way, all analytics cannot be done on all the fields. So as soon as you, let's say you select a field and then you go to analytics, then you will see some of the things might get enabled here, right? Then only you can do that analysis. So for example, if I select order date or this, if I go here, no, still it's not possible. Okay, we need to see that what fields. So I have profit. Let me drag it here, then we'll see how it is getting enabled. Yeah. So as soon as I dragged some over here, I mean sales of some of sales over here, then you see some of the fields got enabled.
What does
Otherwise,
it?
right? Otherwise, everything was kind of grayed out.
Okay.
So you really need to have that field into the data view. Then only things will get enabled if you are able to use, right? If that field satisfies those conditions. I've removed it. Now you see everything again went as grayed out. These are not enabled now. And the same thing happens, like let's say if you select your fields here and then you go to show me, so you will see some of the things are enabled, right? Not everything is enabled over here, right? Which means by using these two fields, one dimension and one measure, you can create these many type of charts. For example, if I select one more field, let's say I'll select discount, or let's say profit and sales. So see, only how many? 4 charts are possible using these two fields. One is bullet graphs, then scatter plot, bars, and table. You cannot create all others. Similarly, if you drag them here and then you go to analytics, see right now it doesn't enable anything, which means using only 2 measures you cannot create anything. What you need at least one dimension. So if I drag order ID also, then if you go here, you see it says forecast and total. These two things are possible.
Means these are the graphs or what? We can do analytics on totals and forecast.
Yeah.
What exactly, if we
No.
click on total?
So it says, so under summaries you will get total, under models you will get forecast. So if you say total, you will be able to create the total of these two things, right? How can you create total? You need to go to analysis, totals, and maybe total you can show. And right. See, again, it will not show total every time, right? What will happen uh, in this scenario, right? For rows, it is possible, but if I do the total of each column, that will not be applicable. Why? Because you have profit and this sales. There are two different measures, right? Adding this amount and this amount will not give any better anything significant, right? You cannot add the total of profit and total of sum into one. That's why it was not giving. I've selected those options which were required, right? I selected all of them, but it will not give because that doesn't make any sense, and that will not of that number will be of not any value, right? For rows it has given because it will add, what it will do, it will add all these figures for different years. For profit, this is the total. For these many years, for sales, this is the total, right? I selected all of them. That will make sense if I drag any other field. For example, category, if I drag, right? Now, if I go back there, let's say subtotal, that is fine. Let me remove one measure for a moment. So till now you are just getting the row total and column total, right? Earlier this total was not coming, grand total. You were getting only these totals, right? Now you have got the column total also. Okay, right now you might have seen like it is coming at top and this total is coming at this side. You can change that order. Okay, so I've selected these, right? Let's uncheck these. Now if you see, this is like a common table. You have 2015, 16, 17, 18, and then the grand total of rows and grand total of each column. Further to this, if let's say if I add some other label here, for example, subcategory. So right now you see, you're just getting this total over here and final total over here. On these categories, you are not getting any total. Sorry, for this supplies, you are not getting any total. For furniture, you are not getting any total. And for technology, you are not getting any total. How can you get that? You need to select that level and then you need to go ahead and say add subtotal. So for furniture, this is the total row. For office supplies, this is the total row. For technology, you have it here, and then you have grand total of complete data. Right? This is what we call it some subtotals.
Okay.
Right? So that was the total out of this analytics portion. Now, similarly, there was another option which was forecast, right? Forecast is only possible in case of trend. If you have a trend line enabled, then only you can create forecast. So that was possible. Let me go back again. Okay, right now it says clusters. So because in this scenario, I don't have any dimension, only the date we have. That's why it says cluster, right? Cluster is basically what? Do you have any idea about cluster?
Cluster means we create like we can fail on from one node to another. We have clusters like that.
I mean, you must have heard about two concepts. One is clustering and one is classification. Have you heard
Cluster
about these
means,
two? Cluster and classification. So what happens, like all the data elements what you have, you can divide them into two, right? Now that division happens on basis of few things. Let's say if you are categorically, you are dividing your data, right? Categorically means, let's say male, female. That's a classification. That
okay.
this data set is of males, this data set is of females. That is basis the category you are dividing your data. But if you divide your data basis some numbers, when I say numbers, so let's say you have 1,000 people in the room, irrespective of male female, you have 1,000 people in the room. Now you want to divide people by age. So let's say people from 0 to 20, they will be in one. From 21 to 40, there would be another group. From 40 to 60, there would be another group, like 20 buckets you are dividing. Now, irrespective of their gender, both type people are there, male, female in each group, right? So what you did, looking at your data, you are just creating some segments into your data, basis numbers or basis some aggregation. Not aggregation, it is not aggregation, basis some characteristics, right? Then it will be called as clusters. So that is what comes here, right? When we'll be talking about sets, right, then it will be very clear, because group and set, they work on the same concept, right? If we go over here, sorry, if you click on any field, it will give you option to create group or set. So these two things work on the same concept. So it will be very clear once we'll cover these two things.
Okay.
Okay. So now I go further. So over here, this pages card is there, filter card is there, marks card is there. We call it pills, small cards. And then you have these measures which you drag here. And okay, so on these things like filter and pages, you can drag your measures or dimensions. Basis that you can apply your some logic. So on pages, generally you apply the filters which will be applicable to the complete worksheet, right? And if in Excel we generally create pivot tables, right? Let me. Have you created pivot tables in Excel?
Not much. Sometimes happening.
But you know the things, right, which are there.
So that's what
So
we can create, filter anything, and then we can drag and drop which is required.
right. So I just did it like this. Okay. So we have country. Let's say profit. These two things I have taken. Now over here, if you see, you have filters, you have columns, rows, and values, right? So this filter, basically what you drag here, it applies at the top, right? So in this also, basically, these filters will be applicable to the complete visualization. But whatever you drag here, pages, what it will do out of that view. So for example, if I filter my data for East, right? I've got the sales or whatever sales and profit for East region right now. Fine. But this is for the entire, let's say, starting from 2015 to 2018. But in case you want to kind of give a snapshot, right? When I say snapshot, basically, let me say sales date. So you want to give a snapshot that in month of June, what was the sales and profit over here, right? So for those scenarios, you drag things over here for a particular, snapshot. It is not always related to dates. It could be related to some other dimension also. It works similar to filters only, right? But as I have selected East over here, so my view will be static now for East region. Okay. End use, I can see that East is selected over here. But the people who are kind of end users, they won't be able to change this East, right? Until unless I don't give them flexibility by showing this control. Right? When they will see this control, then they can select things here and accordingly the data will change. But if I don't show this, I simply hide this, they won't be able to see that what is selected and what is not selected. Right? Now, other thing, the pages card which I was talking about, like snapshot. So as soon as you drag anything here, you get this control.
Okay, it directly shows that control.
As soon as you drag anything here, you will get that control. So for example, this, see, I'm dragging it on the pages and you are getting this control. Okay. What this control does, out of region, whatever individual values you have, it will show you the snapshot one by one. So right now it is central. It is selected here. You can select East.
Okay, you
Right?
can filter out the data like this.
Right. No, you can filter out. Definitely you can filter out. But the beauty of this is if you put it into your view and click on this play icon, what it will do, one by one, it will change all the values. See, this is East right now. After some time, it is South.
Okay, type of animation kind of a little bit.
Right. So it will automatically change the values. right? One by one, it will loop through. It may not look that good right now, but in case, let me create a small view for you. We'll be covering these topics in details, right? I'm just right now I'm just telling you that what are the things over here, but these things will come in picture once again. So order ID, order date, order date, and over here I'll drag maybe profit. So let's say profit, and I'm going to select it as trend, right? I have at both places I have order date. What I will do, if you look here, you got only 4 values right now. Order date. What I would prefer, because it is trend, I would like to see little more numbers. So I'll change this into month so that I will get all the months of 2015, then 16, then 17, 18, and 19. Okay, like this. I've just changed the view. Right now you might have seen as soon as I clicked it here, that control has gone, right? I'll drag it again, right? I'll drag it again because I want to do that kind of setup. Fine. Are we in the original position? Only this view is different now. Earlier it was a cross table. Now it is a kind of trend format what it is giving. So over here, earlier, I mean, if it was years, you had only 4 or 5 values, but you have changed it into month. You got all the months of different years.
All 12 months.
Yeah, all 12 months of each year. So over here, if you kind of do some settings, what it will do, it will show you the complete trend of this data. See, your pointer is moving.
Okay.
Right? You can change the speed so it will move faster. Right? You can make it a little better by playing with your objects over here. So I did all and then fade away. Let's not use it. And then similarly for trades, we can show trend line here. So let me just do it like this and show history. Maybe size we can reduce a little bit. Right? Now if you want to kind of start from the beginning, it's a very good chart for presentations. Right? So this is how you can use this pages card. This was possible only because of the pages card. You can apply other filters whichever you want. You can do those things here, but you are able to show kind of history as well as moving trend using the snapshots by this control.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically,
Now,
shelf is used for like a little bit of animation and kind of stuff.
yes. That's why I said like for presentations, it looks very good. Now, on filter side, let's say it is country. Okay, country, we have only one value. So let me drag maybe subcategory. Right? So on filters, as soon as you drag, let's say I have dragged subcategory on the filters, what will happen? You will see different options over here. You can select all or you can unselect all, right? None of them are selected by clicking on none. Right? Over here, let's say everything was selected, but what I just did, I unchecked two. Right? So what will happen? In the filters, data of these two will not be shown, all other will be shown.
Correct.
Correct. Similarly, if you go like this, you select none over here and select these two. In this scenario, the data of only these two will come and others will not come.
Correct.
Right? And if you select these two and select exclude, it will work opposite.
Exclude both and show all of them which are unselected.
Exactly. Exclude these two and show everything. So you need to be very careful with different options what you apply, right? And then select from the list, which means it will show this list, and from here you can filter a few things as per your requirement. Now custom value list is the field which gives you option to add your values, which means whatever values you mention here, let's say art and binders are there. If I say, let's say boxes, right? Okay, boxes, basically it is not a value in the data. So you, let's say copiers is there. So I just added that here. And as soon as you add it here, the data of these three will be filtered only, right? Include all the values when empty. Even if it is include all the values empty, right? So with these values, even if you get empty lines, those will also come, right? Then you have use all. So use all basically works like whatever is coming out of your data. So what what was here? You were
Select from
selecting few things.
one minute, sorry. Select from list is clarified, but custom value list a little bit I'm not getting.
Okay, custom list is, see what happens here. You can do this same thing, whatever you are planning to do in custom list, you can do the same thing here. I mean, if you're saying that you want to get the data of only 3 elements, right?
Okay,
Select only those 3 elements and leave everything blank,
okay,
right? It will work exactly same as, see,
okay,
right? So it's a similar thing. It is just, this is the GUI version and here you need to type.
okay,
Okay. Then use all, irrespective of any filters, whatever values are coming from data. See, if you are, let's say if I've selected fasteners and furnishing, right now I'm getting, while doing the development, I'm getting these values in my data, right? So I will, nothing will be, no, there would not be any problem. I will get data as it is. But let's say as soon as after development, as soon as I refresh my data, and in new data, you don't have these fields, these values. So what will happen? In visualization, you will not get any records
yes,
because,
custom are not those we won't be getting the call.
right, because you will not be getting these records. So in order to avoid those type of situations, like you selected over here all, even it happens with this also. For example, now you have selected all. This selection, all selection means you have selected only the values which are present at this moment. In future, let's say if they add new values or they reduce something, that will impact your dashboard. Why? Because if they add new values, those values will not be selected automatically,
Okay,
right? Only these values will remain selected what you have done at this moment. So if any new value is getting added in your data, you need to go back again and do the select all or select that value. Then only it will come to your data view or reports.
okay.
That's a limit.
It automatically doesn't refresh.
Exactly. That's a limitation with this all, right? But if you
Okay,
want to avoid that thing to happen, if you want to take anything coming out of your data, just simply select use all,
it automatically refreshes.
right? Yeah, whenever it will refresh, whatever values are coming from your data, it will show there. Neither it will hide anything, nor it will like remain unchecked. If something is getting added, it will show you there. If something is getting removed, it will not show there.
Okay,
Okay, but this situation is little dangerous if your data is changing. If your data is not changing, you want to kind of give a static value, then this is best,
okay. So most
right?
cases, live connection we won't be using this filters most probably, or we'll be selecting
For
these.
live connection, see, no, it depends on your requirement actually. Not connection dependent, but your requirement dependent. See, it's easily possible, right, that in future you add some more categories, right? It is very possible that you will be adding few more categories. So in that case, it is not recommended that you go back and select once again. If the requirement is that you want to show only chairs in your reports, you want to do reporting only for the chairs and bookcases. If that is the requirement, that you want to report only books and bookcases and chairs, go with this option. There is no problem. If you get the data of bookcases and chairs, it will show. If it is not coming, it will not show. Right? It will not show any other garbage in that case. It is limited to bookcases and chairs. But if you want to show everything, whatever is coming in your data, then this option is dangerous. Because in future, if you add new categories, it will not come automatically. Right? For that, you need to choose this option. Choose all. Okay. Now, another thing is like wildcard. So wildcard, as it says wildcard. So for example, over here, you had some values. Do we have anything similar? No, as of now, we don't see much similarity, but yeah, for example, let's say appliances and accessories and arts, right? So you have A at the beginning of all three. So in wildcard, what simply you can do, you can give A alphabet. So any, because it is uppercase, right? Uppercase, yeah. Contains is selected. So any category which has capital A, it will show those categories. Further to that, you can apply these conditions also, like starts with A, ends with A, or exactly matches. Exactly matches, it will give only those values where only A is there. Right? So these things, yeah. In SQL Server, you have like, right? So you can define the pattern of that like statement, and accordingly you get the data. So this is exactly the same. Right? Then you have conditions. So you can apply conditions like you want your data, let's say by city. If you select city, it will give you count. Basically, let's say top 10 and top bottom you want to calculate. So for example, sales, and you want by, let's say you want. So what I'm going to do, let's say this. It's not top to top 10 and top bottom. If I define this condition, it will show you all the records where sum of sales is less than 1000. Right? Or if I do like this, where sales is greater than 1000. Clear, right?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Similarly, you can define the minimum and maximum. So minimum and maximum, basically within this range, if you want to show your data, it will show it like that. Right? Anything beyond this range will not be shown. Similarly, you can define your formula here. So that formula will be like if and if condition only, similar to this condition what you do by field. So you can define the if condition over here. Now the top to bottom what I was talking about, that is basically this fourth tab. Over here, you can say top 10 people or top 10 records by profit. What you want to take, sum or average, whatever, right? So on which field is it is getting applied? On some subcategory, because that is what I dragged onto filters. So on subcategories, it will filter top 10 categories profit. It will filter top 10 categories by average profit. So you can apply these different aggregations here and you can filter out your data. this thing is going to be similar as over here we define the condition. You can define the condition, but for that it will take the values from here, top and 10.
Main
Okay,
challenge is
so
writing
top
the
10
function, creating the calculate field set.
exactly, right. So generally, I mean, out of this, if you see, most of the time we will be using use all, and in few cases we'll be using the 10,
Okay.
right? Frankly speaking, I mean, till now, in last 7-8 years, I have never used this wildcard or conditions.
Okay, but you'll be
I've
using the
never
calculate,
used.
right?
Yeah, calculated field will be used a lot,
No,
right?
but calculate
But
field,
this,
yellow is, I think so. I've heard about it. I'm not sure what it does.
Mhm.
Layer of detailed calculation, something, correct?
Yeah. So calculated, when we say calculated field, I'm not talking about this area. Calculated field will be their other segment also. Here
Correct.
you are just defining the condition for filtering your data,
Correct.
right? The calculated field which you're talking about, I believe you're talking about this thing, calculated field. So we'll be creating calculated field from here, and we will be using it a lot. I think mostly every visualization, every parameter will have a calculated field.
Correct.
Okay. So we'll be working a lot with this. Now, another thing is marks. So on this marks, basically, see, these are the different charts. As soon as you drag something on your data view, you will see you can change them into, let's say if I select bar, see, it got changed. If I select line, it was already there, right? Then if I say area, it will be like this. I mean, it will not be like this because you are getting it like this because we have this control over here. If I remove it, see, it got changed. Similarly, the line you might have seen those dots, it will show up like this. Then squares, basically at every data element, it will show a square sign. Same goes with circle. Then text. Text is the place wherein you can see all the existing elements, what Tableau has,
Okay.
right? These are the images. And where these images are coming from?
My Tableau repository.
My Tableau repository. So over there, in my Tableau repository, you have shapes. Under shapes, you have different folders. And in each folder, you have related images. And this is the place where if you want to add your custom image, you can create a number of folders and put images in those, right? So for example, I created this my images folder, and under that I have put these images. I have home icon, download icon. I mean, it's a human icon. Then screenshot of two dashboards, and then I have this group kind of folder image. So if you go here, you will see that my images, and you will see those images here also.
You can create custom images.
Yes. Okay. See, because of this only, you might have seen in tableau.com or other website, people create very good dashboards, right? Where
Yes.
where they get those images from in Tableau. This is the place,
Yes.
right? So that's this label, like as soon as you select this, you will get these labels here. Size is for in order to reduce size, increase size. You can control your size using this. And then color is in order to change the color of your visualization. So the good thing is, right, I have just selected red, so for all the circles it is a red color. But let's say you want color by state, then what you will do, you'll just drag the state. Where is the state field? State onto colors, and then accordingly you will see the colors of each state. Okay. Then details is basically, it will not make any changes in your visualization, but it helps let's say if you want to show some information later on. So when I say later on, basically, if you go to tooltip, right, you will get all the fields what you have dragged on details.
Where to go from tooltip?
Okay,
Okay,
tooltip, this one,
okay.
right? So you can change your tooltip from here. Whatever information you want to show, you can show that. Okay. Then
Detail doesn't show much.
what?
Detail in marks field. What does it show exactly?
This detail, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, no. So detail in mark over. See, for example, these three fields I have dragged onto details.
Mm-hmm.
It is not showing anything here in the visualization.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is it will not make any changes in your visualization. Whatever you drag here, you can
Mm-hmm.
use it for some other purpose in the visualization,
Okay.
right? When I say other purpose, for example, let's say you need to draw reference lines.
Mm-hmm.
So because you are using only profit in the visualization, right? In the visualization, you have order date and profit, right? These two fields.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you can see here. But
Correct.
if you put any other field on details, other fields on details, then you will see those things into here, right? At this moment, we have only one measure, I guess, that is profit. I have dragged these fields, but these are not measures. So let me drag this also, right? I dragged some on details, sorry, sales of some on the details. It has not make any changes here.
Mm-hmm.
For end users, it is not even visible whether sales is dragged over here or not, right? But I can go back to add reference lines, and here I can select sales, and I can create a reference line basis my sales. So this reference line is coming basis sales, whereas in the visualization I don't have sales anywhere except this line now.
Okay. Means basically details are used to create any reference lines or something like that.
That is one of the uses, right? Apart from that, as soon as you will go to this title, you will see those fields here also, right? So you can utilize these things into title also. See, in order to make few things easy, you drag things on details, provided you don't want to show them in the visualization.
Okay.
Tooltip is, again, you can control your tooltip, that what you want to show on mouse hover. So those things you can control from here. You can add, remove other fields. Let's say I remove that and I want to add maybe state is there, row ID is there. Let's say sales. I added this. If you go now, you will see sales here.
Okay.
Okay. Then shapes, we already discussed that you can add or in custom images. So that's possible.
Okay, we can drag a single images whichever you want from shape.
Single images, you mean?
There are so many images if you create on this site. In default there are so many. If you want this like star and all, we can select that and apply it, or how come it applies?
You mean apply to this particular visualization?
Uh,
Okay. You can go ahead and select it, right? Whatever you want. See?
okay, it changes accordingly.
Yeah. Whatever you select, it will change accordingly. Okay. And then other than this, you have this column cells and row cells. So you want to switch between these two. You can follow these controls to convert your rows into columns and column into rows. Right? Show me, you already know that what it is. But yes, it's good. The good thing is if you put mouse on any of the visualization, it will tell you that what is the required thing. in this portion here.
Okay.
Then on this toolbar, if you click on this icon, Tableau icon, you will go back to home page.
Mhm.
Then you have save. Over here you can add another data source. So right now I'm connected to order sample superstore.
Mhm.
If you want to add another data source, you can do that from here. Not necessary that you go back and select Excel. You can select something else also, and accordingly you will get the data.
How many data
Right?
sources can be added at a time?
How
Means
many?
data sources can be added.
I think I mean I don't think there is any limit, but again as many data sources you will add, it will hit the performance of your visualization,
Mhm.
right? Because it is going to use the resources.
Mhm.
And I mean it is recommended that if you're not using any field in the visualization, don't create unnecessary data sources, right?
Okay.
It will allow you, see again, why you will add data source, that's the question, right?
If you're trying to
I
use some from there or something, then we have to use it, right? Just guessing in that way.
No, see, there could be situation, right? Over here, let's say these fields, these tables were coming from the same database. So I
Mhm.
applied union and join, and I was able to get the data,
Mhm.
right? There could be a scenario wherein some data you are getting from SQL Server and some data you are getting from XYZ source.
Mhm.
In that case, you have two options. One option is over here only add, let's say, sample superstore, or let's say I'll select this file now.
Mhm.
I have two sources here now.
Two.
One is a superstore and another is EU superstore.
Mhm.
Okay. At this moment, they have similar tables, but it is possible that you can get the different tables or different data sets from these sources. And at that time, you can kind of drag and apply whatever operations you want, right? So you can do same union and join over here also.
Okay. How many
That is
joins
a one
can we
option. That is
have? One more
over
question.
here.
How many? Yeah, how many joins we can do?
256. That is what I heard last time,
256.
right? 256. Yeah, right.
Oh, okay, because I read somewhere I heard only 32 can be possible. Not sure.
32 was possible in 32 was until 2018 version,
Okay.
right? And 2019. So until
Okay.
2018 version, 30,
Mhm.
32 were possible,
Okay.
right? I don't know what is there in the 2020, but yes.
Mhm.
So I was telling that this is the first approach. You can create your additional data source here and apply your union, whatever you want, right?
Mhm.
But if you add your data source onto this tab, yeah,
What did you just dragged it?
actually I what I did, this union store, I think we did further union, right? Under this something we did, that's why it is taking time. Rows retrieved. For sure it doesn't have these many rows. It's I think performing some Cartesian product.
Mhm.
Okay, so till now if you see, again it shows only one data source here, right?
Mhm.
But what we did, we have applied our logic like create by creating two data sources here, and we joined them here only,
Mhm.
right? We are getting data from two different sources and joined our data at this moment, I mean this place only, and
Okay.
accordingly we are getting the data into our sheet, and it shows one data source because that is what we have. Right?
But in
This
data
will be
source,
more efficient.
okay, but we have
Yeah,
two
please go
different
ahead.
data. We have two different data sources,
Yeah,
right? Data source pane. Even it should show two data sources if we are combining both data sources in this sheet one as well, right?
no, no. I'm coming to that point. If you are joining them here only, I mean on data source tab, it will show
Mhm.
only this name because under this connection you are joining two data sources,
Mhm.
right? So uh, on sheet side, it is showing this name only because all
Okay.
of my operations are happening under this, right?
Yes.
Under this name only, I'm doing all the operations. So over here, it will show you only one name. That's the connection name, final name.
Okay.
But if you go ahead and add new data source here, let's say Excel file, and do we have any other data? Desktop. Okay, let me just select something right now and we'll see.
Mm.
Okay, so this is the another sheet what I have added, another connection. So over here you don't see those things, right? It's a
Mhm.
completely you can, there is a different name and fresh connection. You can drag a field here, and then if you go to sheet one once again, what
Okay.
will happen? You will get two connections now,
Okay.
right? And in order to get the combined data out of these two, you can create joins or relationships between these two data sources,
But there should be any common
right?
field between two,
This
right? To create any relationship or this.
obviously you need some common field. Basis that you will kind of create your join or relationship, right? So how can you do that? Automatically it will not create. You need to go to data and you need to click on edit relationship. So as soon as you do that, you see here both of your data sources in the drop down. You can select a one, whatever you will select in the drop down, the other will appear here.
Mhm.
You can have multiple data sources also. Right now we have used 2, you can use 10 also.
Mhm.
Now on the relationship we have selected automatic. Because right now we don't have any common field, under automatic it has not shown anything.
Mhm.
Fine. Had it been some common fields, it will automatically show here. Because
Okay.
right now we don't have any common field, it is not showing. So what we
Mhm.
will do, we'll go ahead and click the custom one, and in custom you can add these relationships, right? What will happen?
Okay.
This is the first data source, this is my second data source. So I can
Mhm.
say F1 and category. So we just defined one relationship. I don't know whether actual data is there like that or not. I'm just telling you the example that how would you
Okay.
kind of create relationship. You can add
But it,
another level of relationship.
but it should have both
Mhm.
common fields, right, to create a relationship.
Exactly, exactly.
If it
Otherwise, you will
doesn't have
not
any,
get any data, right?
if it doesn't have any common field, then we can create a custom type and build a relationship. How come we'll be
Yes.
doing?
Yeah. So see, if it has, see, in your data, it is possible, right? That
Mhm.
you states in both the field, both the data. But in you are
Correct.
telling states, in another you are saying a name of state.
Mhm.
Field name is different, right?
Mhm.
But the values underlying those will be same. So until unless you will not have common fields, common values, you will
Mhm.
not get any match,
Yeah.
right? Whether the name is different, that's not a problem. You can go into custom and you can map those. If you have a
Mhm.
common values, then only you get results. So that's
Okay.
what I'm telling. you should have common values within those, and then you can define such relationships and say okay. So now over here, if you see, as soon as I define two relationships, you got this clip icon over here,
Okay.
right? And this is again still not active. It is the only thing that these things are kind of created. If you click on this clip icon, this color will change into red color or orange color,
Mhm.
which means now my both connections are active,
Okay.
right? This procedure is called data blending,
Mhm.
right? You are getting data from two different sources and getting into your visualization.
Okay.
This process is called data blending in Tableau, right? We are doing the same what we could have achieved by applying our, you know, joins or unions here. Basically joins, not union,
Okay.
right? It's a similar kind of operation,
Yeah. By default,
right?
data
Now there are
blending
total.
takes
Hmm,
in joins. We can select like there are four, like inner join, right join, like
mhm.
four joins. Right? Data blending will be
So
taking like, yeah,
it's by default left join.
left join. Okay.
Yeah, right. Now there is one more option. Two options we saw here for joining data. There is one
Mhm.
more option, that is the third option. If it is possible to join your data out of your Tableau, I mean, don't do all these operations, do it separately other than Tableau, and then get your data into Tableau joining, right? You have these
Mhm.
three options, right? I'm saying this like you can do it out of Tableau, because generally what happens in real time scenarios, you create
Yeah.
a ODS layer wherein you do all the data operations, and once you have a normalized view, then you get it into Tableau for reporting,
Mhm.
right? So these three options are there. Now if I ask you which one will be faster and most, efficient, what do
I'll
you
say
say?
data blending,
Hmm?
blending.
Da- Data blending.
Yeah.
My opinion is just opposite. Data blending is
Mm.
going to be the slowest,
Okay.
right? Data blending is going to be the slowest option.
Okay.
And right, because it is limited to left join, you cannot apply other tactics or other, techniques if you need,
Okay.
right? So in any given scenario, if you have all three options, the third option which I talked, that you can combine, join, do all the operations if out of Tableau, that will
Mm.
be the fastest approach. I'm talking about the real time scenarios. I'm not talking about to just, show or create small reports. I'm talking about the real projects wherein you need to kind of work on huge data, right?
Out of time, didn't get you. Can just
Oh,
elaborate on that?
okay. So in projects, what happens? Like, see, you're from ETL background, right?
No. Which background it is?
ETL, I mean, data
No, no, no.
manipulation, data. Okay, okay,
Totally
okay, fine.
basic
So,
database background.
so
Backend.
right, right. Yeah, backend database only, right? Okay. See what happens in real time scenarios. So let's say there is a requirement of creating one dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
So your data might come from different sources, right? When I say different sources, some data can be come from sales team, some data can be from can come from, let's say, HR department, some can come from payroll department, some can come
Mm-hmm.
from production department, so that you will know the performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now in order to do the reporting, let's say if you are planning to kind of create those four connections into Tableau, and then you will join data in Tableau and then you do the reporting. That's a one approach. Or another
Mm-hmm.
approach could be, Another approach could be that you get data from each department, get into your SQL server, create an aggregated view, and use that view for reporting purpose.
Okay.
Which one will be efficient?
SQL.
SQL one, right? Because,
You're creating in a single view itself all the data.
right, because the overhead of doing joins and all will be already completed in SQL Server, so that your Tableau reports will be fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to look for these approaches whenever you get the requirement. You need to look
Okay.
for these approaches so that you can complete these tasks other than Tableau, out of Tableau.
Okay.
Tableau is giving these options because if your data size is less, volume is not that big, you can do this
Mm-hmm.
in Tableau.
Mm-hmm.
But it is recommended, if it is possible, do it out of Tableau so that your reports will be faster.
So we'll be suggesting the SQL developers to do it, or we'll be doing it? How come creating these views? I'm just
If you No, so if let's say the business strategy or architecture is like this, like we have decided that we'll be
mm,
doing all these operations out of Tableau, then definitely there has to be a dedicated person for it,
okay.
right? So
Mm,
these things will be done out of Tableau. But in case your data volume is not that good and business leadership also understands that data is not that big, they cannot invest on SQL, then it's better to do it in Tableau itself, right? But yes, condition will be there. If data volume increases, it will get slow.
okay.
Okay. So these are the best practices what one need to use while kind of going into actual project.
Okay.
Right. So
First
so
gather,
far we can.
first gather the requirements and then think how we can get the data into Tableau. If it's
Right.
huge, then take this kind of approaches as it were.
Correct. Mhm. Right. So
Mm,
so far we saw like how can we blend our data, join our data, union our data. But a strategy will be like if you can avoid blending and all these things in Tableau, avoid that. If there is no option, then definitely you have option here. You can do the blending and joining into Tableau.
okay.
Right. So that's fine. Till here, I mean, do you feel any question, any doubts so far?
Nothing, but I heard that blending is an important part in this one in
Mhm.
Tableau. Is
Yeah,
it
yeah, it's an
correct?
important part only. That's what I'm telling. I mean, it's an important part because it is giving you flexibility to join two data sources here in Tableau, within Tableau, right? But if you start thinking about performance and other aspects, then it is
Mm,
avoidable. You should avoid it,
okay. Based on
right?
performance.
Right. You might have heard like earlier there was no data prep kind of tool, right, in Tableau?
Yes, it was introduced recently as we discussed like in 2020 version.
Right. And why
But
it came?
because of this data extraction, I was reading a little bit about that, but didn't get time about the data prep tool.
Right. I mean, see, those features were already there in this tool.
Mhm.
They gave it separately. There is a reason behind it.
Okay.
That is not the that's not the feature. That's a
Mhm.
because of competition.
Okay.
Right. Competition. When I say competition, because Power BI gives that.
Okay.
Right. That's a cheaper tool, but it still that gives this data model and data flow. The, in Power BI, it is called as data flow.
Okay.
And that's why Tableau came up with, and they are also calling it Tableau Data Prep. And you are
Data prep.
creating flows over there,
Okay. Okay. Only we are
right?
creating flow. Okay.
Yeah, you are creating flow. See what it does. It connects to your data sources, gets the data, and creates extract onto Tableau service. That's it,
Okay.
right? And after that, you can connect with that data extract and show the reports. So it is
Uh-huh.
that use. It is over here. Maybe I mean people can use it because see the burden which was supposed to come over here because of joins and all these things, right? You
Mhm.
have removed out of Tableau. You can do the same task into data prep now,
Okay.
right? So
To
you
give
see,
a visualization of that as well.
Exactly. So if you don't want to do in SQL Server, you can do in data prep tool, but
Okay.
avoid from the Tableau desktop,
Okay.
because it will kind of put load into Tableau desktop and your reports will be slow. So that's why, Tableau itself, that's why it came up with this. So major thing was like earlier, it was not offering this, but Power BI was offering from long. So that's why
Okay.
they came
Okay.
up with. And yes, you can reduce the burden from your Tableau desktop.
Okay.
Okay, so other than this, I'll just click on this view. So it's a very simple, like it's a standard view right now. You can change it for adjust to width, height, or view. You don't see much changes right now because it's already covering the whole width, height. Height is
Okay.
covering because of our scale what we have here from -1 to 5 million. Then this is for labels shortcut. You can show an unhide, hide and unhide. And then these few options like to clean everything from your sheet. If I click here, you'll get a fresh worksheet.
So by mistakenly, if we click and if you want that, we can get it. Or how come it have you
Con- Control Z,
control that? Okay.
right? Control Z, or this you can use this option back. It's basically undo and redo.
Mm.
Okay. So this is all about this sheet. Now going forward, we'll create basic charts from here. We'll create some custom charts as we go. So for example, if you want to utilize show me, we can go through this, or otherwise for practice purpose only, I would say start dragging the fields. For example, let's say profit, maybe sales, and then drag some dates,
So that's
or
what my
maybe you
question.
can.
My question is, you have direct like profit and sales to rows. Why can't
Mhm.
we move it to columns? Why only rows? How can that be guessed that we need to move it to rows only and we need to move to the columns only?
Okay, so most of the measures, right, when you're working on measure will
Okay.
generally come to rows,
Okay.
right? Your dimensions will be, again, you can have your dimensions can be put at both the places,
Okay.
right? But
But
if you
measures
put
is and
but
rows.
if you
Okay.
put measure into column, you will see you will end up with a dual axis chart,
Okay.
right? Two dimension. So mostly, I mean, the it's not called a best practice, but I would say it's a kind of requirement, right? That you
Mm-hmm.
need to drag your dimensions into column and measures into rows. But again, this is not kind of, you have to do it.
Okay.
You
That's
need to
where
see
I
the
had probably.
yeah, you need to see the requirement actually.
Mm-hmm.
Basis requirement, you can choose what to do.
Okay.
Right now, if I drag dimension, let's say region over here, I'm dragging a dimension on rows only. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it will come like this. As soon as you drag anything, any dimension on rows, it will give you a tabular form.
Okay.
So right now it is a tabular form. You can go ahead and directly create a table like this. If you just click on any text table or heat table, or the last one, heat map,
Okay.
right? But yes, anything which you are going to put into columns, for sure it is going to create columns for that. So the concept what we have in pivot table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pivot table generates dynamic columns, right? Basis values.
Not used much in that Excel file tables.
Yeah, I'm
Not
talking
used.
about exactly.
Uh,
Okay. So for example, see here, if I drag region onto columns here, this column section, I'll drag my region into column. So what it will do, it has created 4 columns now. This is
okay.
the values what I had under region.
Mm-hmm.
In Tableau also, it will do the same thing. whatever values I will have into that field, which I'm dragging on column, it will create those many columns. So over here also, let's say if I drag segment, it will create those columns, right? If I drag region, it will create those columns. And the same thing it is doing with date. If I'm dragging date, it is creating those columns, what values I have under date. So right now it is year, so that's why you get it in year format. If I change it into, let's say, month, you will get months over here. Okay. And then further to this, whatever value you drag, like segment, see, it is in the rows, you are getting rows. And then you can drag maybe sales and profit. So you are getting your sum of sales now. Okay, so far it is clear?
Yes.
Okay, so what I would suggest, go ahead and kind of try to practice drag and drop these fields, create at least 3 charts, right? Right now target only basic charts, basic whichever chart you can create out of it, right? At least 3 charts, create those, and then tomorrow we'll kind of start working on dual axis chart as well as calculated field.
Okay.
So these 2 things we will target tomorrow.
No.
Okay.
Are we going through the syllabus which you're doing, or we're just going? I just wanted to understand that.
Can you repeat that?
We are going through syllabus which is there in your this one site, or we are just going?
No. We'll complete everything whatever is mentioned in the syllabus. It is just I'm trying to go in an order so that easy things comes first, and then as we move, we'll be covering all the complex things.
No problem.
Right?
Yeah. Sure.
Right. But your practice is also required. So just do, I mean, kind of 3-4 visualizations so that tomorrow we can take it to the next level.
For my question is that we had that student ID, right? Because my laptop is where I and I'm using different one laptop. If I use that license over in this laptop which I'm working as a temporary, then there may be issue or how come? Or shall I
See,
use temporary like?
you can use that license for 2 installations only. So as soon as, let's say, you first of all install on your this machine, and after some time if you'll be kind of changing and moving there, you will kind of end up losing the validity, right? You can do 2 installation, you can do two activations. After that you will not be able to use it.
Okay, so what I was coming first I'll be using, because until lockdown is there I'll be using this one. Once then I'll be moving to my workplace.
So right now you have Tableau public, or just you can install the desktop and use the trial version for 14 days.
Yes,
That is
I
better.
was planning for that as well.
I think that would be better.
Yeah, for temporary I'll be using it, and once I move other, then I thought I would be installing that.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Yep. All right then.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay then. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye bye.